Welcome back to Black Me Up Podcast, everybody. I'm Day.
And I'm Lily.
And it's been a minute, but we're back, and it is close to Christmas, and we wanted to talk about the end of the year, the end of 2020, and we wanted to talk about the beginning of the year, 2021. And both of us thought that a good question to start the podcast off would be, how do you think our society will be / change in 2021? So let's just start there. Do you have any ideas, any thoughts?
You would think I would have an answer, but I guess my opinions about 2021 is, to put it in one word, scared. Scared because I know there's a lot of people on social media that are like, oh, once 2020 or 2021 happens, like COVID's gonna be gone, or like they have these, like, to me feels like unrealistic ideas of 2021. But then there's also people that see 2021 as an improvement, like will be better than 2020, not necessarily back to normal. But again, I feel like that's unrealistic too.
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly what you're saying. Like, I feel like too many people think that once it's January 1st, the coronavirus is going to be over, the vaccine is going to be out, people could just stop wearing masks, and then it might just put us exactly back to where we were a year from now.
Yeah, exactly.
And it seems like it's almost been a year. In 3 months, it will be a year, and it feels like nothing has changed. And I'm kind of disappointed in everything.
I realized the one thing that I took from 2020 is that no one gives a fuck about you.
Yes. People don't even give a fuck about themselves.
Well, no, I'm like, people are so selfish. I realized they rather go out there, hang out with 100 people, and possibly get COVID. And even if they caught COVID, and it was like minor symptoms, they would be okay with it. But the thing is, maybe they do, I don't know. I feel like they don't consider the fact that not everybody is going to have the same symptoms and go through the same process when getting COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to say, because I've heard people say this, they're like, oh, people that gotten COVID. Well, it's not that bad. I don't see why people are so scared and concerned. Like, I just can't taste, I just can't smell, and I feel okay. Like, it's not that bad. It's like, it's ridiculous. People are hyping it up for no reason. I've heard someone say that. Do you like, I'm like, bro, do you hear how selfish that sounds?
Just because they didn't die doesn't mean somebody else isn't going to die, or that hundreds of thousands of other people haven't,
Right. And because there's so many people with that mindset, that is the reason why I feel like there's no hope in 2021.
I agree. I think 2021 is going to be just a mirror reflection of 2020. And if people keep doing exactly what they're doing, we're not going to progress at all.
No.
I mean, Joe Biden's going to be president. I guess that's some type of something to look forward to, but the country's already in a shithole.
Exactly. And it's just like, at what point at what point do you like? At what point are people going to learn their lesson?
Mm-hmm.
Until, because there are some people out there that are like, well, it's not going to affect me unless someone near me dies.
That's a terrible mindset.
Right. I know people that have friends that have gotten COVID. They're like, oh, okay. And they still have the same mindset, like, as COVID isn't real or COVID's not a big deal. And I'm like, are you literally waiting until somebody in your circle dies to take it serious?
Exactly. And we've had COVID scares at my job, multiple, and we've just had 2 recent ones. So
Dang.
it's not a game. It's not a joke. Like, I think it's crazy. And I'd be terrified if I got that.
Right.
I do not want to get it.
Exactly. And so 2020, I feel like 2021, like you said, it's going to be a repeat. People are still going to think the same way, have the same ideas, and we're just going to be sitting at home complaining for another fucking year.
Oh my God.
I want to get the fuck out of here.
Facts. Barcelona.
Barcelona, bitch. Plans. I got plans. If you fucking ruin that, I swear I'm swinging.
Oh my gosh. And then because first off,
fucking country in June of 2021.
yes, I need to get my passport. I need to get a good swimsuit, and I need to get a savings account. And work out.
I'm not trying to take this fupa with me. No, that shit can stay here in Washington while I'm in Barcelona.
Oh my gosh. So goals. Sign up for our Patreon if you want to fund our trip to Barcelona.
Please.
So in terms of the coronavirus, apparently in Washington state, the vaccine won emergency approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration on Friday, and the first shipments are expected to arrive in Washington state this week. So I believe that these are just emergency for like old people, nurses.
Yeah, in critical condition.
Critical condition, exactly. So normal people aren't going to have access to it, but if we did, would you take the vaccine?
Fuck yeah.
You would?
Excuse my I know people out there are saying like, well, I'm not taking the vaccine because I don't know what they're putting in my body. Nigga, you probably put some shit in your fucking body already. That fucking cheeseburger that you had from McDonald's is probably more toxic than that vaccine.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear it's so funny. There was this whole thing on Twitter. It was like, if you date men, don't even worry about what's in the coronavirus vaccine.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the first. No, I would, if possible, I would be the first person getting that damn vaccine.
Really, that's good. I haven't heard too many people with that opinion. I feel like I wouldn't get it first, but I would get it maybe after a year. I already got the flu vaccine. You know, my job paid for us to get the flu vaccine on site, so I'm gonna see how that handles and like what kind of symptoms I get, like from the normal flu or just whatever comes my way.
Yeah.
And then after it's been approved and like after I see maybe Obama do it like on YouTube live, then I'll get it.
I get yeah, that's actually smart too. Like, and I feel like most people would feel comfortable kind of just seeing how it affects others first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's at this point, like, what else you gonna do? Either catch COVID or get the fucking vaccine.
Boom, exactly. And you don't want to catch it, so get the vaccine.
And asses ain't fucking staying home, so pick one or the other. The fuck?
Exactly. So COVID aside, another topic that we had was emotional sensitivity. I feel like not only has this year made a lot of people sensitive emotionally, but I feel like just the holiday season, the end of the year, just stresses that are on everybody naturally makes people react towards people. So how have
Mhm.
you been feeling? Let's do a Black girl check-in.
Like shit. So I've been feeling very sensitive. I mean, to be honest, if I really had to like calculate out all of 2020, I've been very sensitive emotionally. And usually that's not me. Uh it's I can't really speak for others, but for myself, just kind of the process of like the information about COVID, about uh, other stuff that you hear on the news is just constantly repeating in your head. The concerns are repeating in your head. And on top of that, you just got to function like a normal person. You got to still do your stuff. You got to pay your bills. You got to go work. You got to take care of the kids. And your brain just, for me, my brain just is on fucking overload, just constantly, to the point where my emotions have been affected, where I just, I can't, anything that I see, I hear, I talk to somebody give me the slightest attitude or ignoring my text or I'm taking everything so personal nowadays, so personal. And I know that's not healthy. That's not, we shouldn't be taking every little thing in life personal, because 90% or 80% of things in life are not directed to us. It's not meant to hurt us when people, you know what I mean? But that's how I've been feeling. And that's why I've been also isolating myself to protect my emotional state. Because I know I could either in an instant get angry, get sad, get depressed, get anxious. I know I can feel those in seconds depending on what environment I'm in. And I know isolating myself is the best way for me to make sure that doesn't happen. But I also know how it's not the best choice as well to always isolate yourself. You know what I mean? And so, and another thing too is like, I've, so we moved into a house like 2 weeks ago. So we went from an apartment to a house. Woohoo! So one great thing. First week we were here, my sister comes home from a friend's house, and she tells me like there is apparently a guy on like like 4 or 5 blocks down, where he's going down a certain road that we live by, and he has a gun and he's making threats to people.
What the fuck?
He's just walking down that road with his gun, showing obviously to people. And then yesterday, 2 days ago, my baby daddy, he works for the school district. So one of he gets a bunch of phone calls because apparently one of the schools, a man was walking into the building with a knife and threatening to stab people. And it's funny because like because he does the cameras, like he deals with cameras, and he can see every footage, every part of the school. And he showed me the footage of the man walking into the building with a fat knife and like aggressively walking in. Then I hear from a friend of mine. She was in Capitol Hill, and she and a guy friend were in a restaurant, like a Chinese restaurant. They sat down, got ready, and it was like, it gets dark around 4 or 5 p.m. So it was like around that time. And then this guy just barges in and just aggressively throws his jacket and starts cursing at the waiter. And then at some point, he starts making threats. And like, I can't remember if he had a gun or a knife, but he had some kind of weapon on him. And he's like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill all those people behind there, your family, your mom, everyone back there. I'm going to kill you. Mind you, my friend and the guy had stepped aside and he ignored them. He was in there like, I'm going to kill all of you, you piece of blah, 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 this, and cursing them out and making all these threats. And they're all hiding and just ends up like, I think, leaving. Anyways, the cops got called, blah, blah, blah. So my point of these stories is people are losing their shit.
Violence on overload. Like, what the hell?
But it's all because, like, we're social beings. We love to be around people. As much as we're difficult, we love to be around people. And some people being restricted at home and going through financial stuff and relationship issues, everything that has affected people, so many people mentally, to the point they've just snapped. Yeah, so like when I see stuff on the news or hear things like, oh, this man or woman did the blah blah blah, killed her husband, blah 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 blah, I'm like, not surprised, because everyone's going through, especially in 2020 specifically, going through a lot of mental problems, and we don't know how to address it. We don't know how to deal with it.
I've never wanted to fight more in my life.
Yes!
I want to throw hands.
I've never been physical until 2020. Until 2020. For some reason, just
yes,
has me just swinging has been to everything.
Mm-hmm.
So bad.
It's terrible. Yeah, I agree with you, especially in terms of like not feeling like me, especially when it comes to like isolating myself. Like, yes, I've been isolating myself too, just not wanting to talk to anybody. Like a few days ago, I found I was just randomly on the profile of our friend Sansaray, and I just started crying because I was like, oh my God, I miss her. Oh my God, I miss these people. Then I started just looking through everybody's pages. And I was like, damn, I miss just being able to go to a place and sit comfortably, not sit outside, or just not have to worry about if a place is like, there's just so much to worry about nowadays. And then work. If you're somebody who's switched jobs in 2021 because you lost your job due to COVID, and then now you're working an even more stressful job with even more demands, even though you're in a pandemic, it just kind of feels really backwards. And so mentally that does a toll on you too. So that's where I stand.
It's I feel like it's too much for one person. Like all this shit that's going on is just like, can we just be a little bit more fucking sensitive to each other? Like, can we be a little more kinder to each other?
A little bit, yes.
Everybody's going through something, regardless if you have money or not. Somebody, like, you're going through fucking something.
Mm-hmm. And you never know what somebody's going through, so don't push anybody's buttons. Like, try not to go out of your way to be rude and say slick remarks. Like, now is the time that you just say, hey, let me not.
Yes, please. Like, honestly, I don't want to say it's that simple, but like,
right.
It's
a matter of respect.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. It should be natural. It should be expected that we give people those time, the space, the respect for whatever they're going through, you know?
Whew. So that's emotional sensitivity with
right.
Day.
That is another reason why I feel like 2020 is not going to be any better. I mean 2021, sorry.
Right. Oh, it's so confusing.
Right. 2021, I feel like it's not going to be any better than what we're going through because now people have mental shit they're going through
Mm-hmm.
and that's solved quickly. That takes time.
Yep. They have a year of built up mental, emotional stuff, and now there's a like they're gonna express it in 2021.
Yes. Well, counselors are going to be making money.
I know. I'm over here looking for one. It's right on just Google. Oh my gosh. I found so in Oregon you could do psychedelic therapy. You could do like mushroom therapy. And I'm like, yo, I would love to go.
So I was just talking to him today and he's like, there's like he called it magic mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently in certain states, like health officials are trying to, or therapists specifically are trying to pass it as like a medication. You know how like antidepressants and stuff like that, they're saying you need to get rid of these addictive medications and use shrooms to get through their depression because apparently it has benefits. That's so funny.
I feel like then I possibly listened to the same podcast episode.
It was a podcast, but I don't know where he heard it from.
Right, that's funny.
I was trying to do a little bit of research on it, and I wasn't really finding a lot. But apparently, Oregon. That's why Oregon isn't really when it comes to drugs. Their laws are very different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But same with cannabis. They just passed a new law, so you could now do medical studies with cannabis. So now there's going to be more cannabis research studies being done. So hopefully in the next coming years, we'll actually be able to see how cannabis affects the body in more scientific senses. So with raw data that people could actually use and show their doctors and
Seriously, oh my gosh.
That would be awesome. So
yeah, that makes me happy to be in a state where we're able to use it, and I'm just happy that I'm in one.
Right, we're gonna have more weed talks on our Patreon, so be sure to tune into our Patreon.
Yes.
But let's see. Let's go ahead and round off this episode and end it off with some podcast goals. So I know we've been inactive for a few weeks, but we've done good for the most part. I think we've done as good as we could have done in this year, especially with what could have gone on. But in 2021, what are some goals that you have for the podcast specifically?
Right, for the podcast. Besides being more consistent.
Facts.
That's like always the number one fucking goal.
Top.
But I guess for me personally, I would like to be more vulnerable. Like we were talking about earlier, certain specific podcasters where we've listened to their episodes and it's just they're amazing,
the levels of vulnerability and conversations and the depths that they reach just from that vulnerability.
Exactly. And I'm a very private person in general. And the reason I'm a private person is, well, one, I don't feel like everybody needs to know my damn business.
Facts.
But two, I don't want to get judged. I feel like, especially online, a lot of people like to put their opinions about, one, how you parent, how you function, how you fucking take a shower, like the simplest things. Like, seriously, I saw a video of this woman, and I don't remember if she was Jamaican or she was somewhere from the islands, okay? And she has a mixed baby. But she cooks traditional food for her baby. Like she's on TikTok, so all her videos of like how she's making stew and rice and like traditional stuff, and like you don't see her child doesn't eat any processed or
Mm-hmm.
it's all homemade, and she blends the fruits and does all this other stuff. And I don't know how old her kid is, but I'm pretty sure like either a year older or younger. Anyways, she was getting so much comments from people like, you're gonna kill your child, they're not supposed to have water, why would you feed them like meat and stew and rice, like you're a bad parent, like
What?
right 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 like excuse me,
I don't know what to say.
excuse me.
Whew. For feeding my child?
That's what I mean. People have the audacity to think that their opinion, like
Off of just one thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that comes with being on social media and all that other stuff. So, but what scares me, and that's why I'm not vulnerable, as much as I would like to be on our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think trying to do that, being vulnerable, I would have to try. Oh,
keep going.
So for me, I want to be more vulnerable, but for me to do that, I would have to give no fucks. I would have to give no fucks about people's opinions, judgment, but I don't think I'm strong enough for that just yet.
I feel, and that it takes a whole lot of time to get used to people's opinions, because people really will just see one thing or see a snippet of something and think they know you and just roll with that and just judge you based off of that. But then it's like they're not necessarily judging you, they're just all projections from what they think, you know. And sometimes it's hard to separate that, especially as a creator and someone on the internet a lot. But I guess it just comes with time, and then I guess there are just some people who just don't, you know.
Yeah, it goes back to the thing I was saying earlier about not taking things personal.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of those comments, they're not really for you.
Mm-hmm. Somebody just wants to put something out there and just be nasty.
Yeah, and get attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to practice that, not giving a fuck, not taking things personal, in order to be more vulnerable on our podcast. Because that's what I would like to do. I would like to be able to connect more with the audience that we have, you know?
Mm-hmm. I like that. Oh, I like that.
I like it too, but it's hard.
It is hard. That is hard.
What about you?
Personally, I would like more guests. Like we talked about the sex worker interview, more marijuana interviews, maybe more podcasters. Like Fran from the Friend Zone would be dope, and Good Moms Bad Choices, Erica and Jamila would be so dope. And they're also one of the people that we talked about whose podcast has personally influenced us. Like their just vulnerability and just ability to come online and just be 100% themselves. Like that's something that we strive for. And Megan Thee Stallion, that's another interview person that I want. And just more Black women in Seattle overall. I would like our podcast to become just an overall grounding space for Black women in Seattle to join and communicate with each other overall, I guess. And yeah.
What I was going to say too is possibly getting a female Black therapist.
Yes, I would love a Black therapist. Oh, my boyfriend has a Black therapist.
He does?
And it's a Black woman named Kim, yeah.
That is so cute.
I love it. So I want a therapist. I want a Black marijuana therapist.
Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, I feel like it's just different. It's different. I can't even put exactly to words what about it is different. And it might have to do mainly with the whole connection, you know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And we could go to like what's it called? Why am I struggling? Therapyforblackgirls.com. I've been meaning to go onto that website and look for some Black women in Seattle.
Oh, I've not heard of that website.
Yes, Therapy for Black Girls. I listened to the podcast. Dr. Joy, that's another one. Therapy for Black Girls podcast host, Dr. Joy. She's out of Atlanta. I would love to have her on the podcast as well, so that she could talk to us. And Black Girls in Ohm, that's another good one. I forget the name of that girl who hosts that. Forgive me, but she does a lot of really good like meditation work, and she has a lot of good resources for Black women to find like meditation and mental stuff.
That's exciting.
So yeah, those are my goals for the podcast. Overall consistency, more guests, more opportunities for us, and more Patreon subscribers, because I really want to go to Barcelona.
Shit, girl, me too. Barcelona.
Okay, Cheetah girls. No, when you texted me saying that, I was going to be like, okay, Cheetah sisters, let's go.
That's literally what I'm thinking. Like,
oh my gosh. But thank you guys for listening. Actually, no, we still have one more segment. Any last words? Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Well, shit, I have many thoughts. Let me look through my.
I know, right? There's a whole Rolodex up in here. One second.
Oh, really? I would say my final thought would be really self-analyzing and paying attention to your emotions and your mental state. And I know a lot of people naturally don't do that for many reasons. But really taking the time to actually isolate yourself for a little bit in a safe environment and a comfortable environment, and really try to question, why am I feeling this way? What caused it? What are ways that even Googling shit, like how can I get out of this funk, or how to be less angry, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just making sure that you are attentive to your emotions and mental state.
Damn, that was good as hell. Shout out to Lily for being so fucking good with her words.
That was papers. I don't know if you could tell. That was not a job.
But my final thoughts are not as good as yours. I was gonna say I was yesterday years old when I figured out I could connect my Xbox controller to my iPad. Yeah.
Wait, how? Is it Bluetooth?
Yeah, it's Bluetooth.
Oh.
So I was playing Minecraft last night when I got off of work on my iPad, and it was so fun. So I was going to say, do things that make you happy. Find anything that brings you joy and just roll with it, even if it's something as small as figuring out your Xbox controller has Bluetooth. Just fucking roll with it.
I think too, like, I find something, I'm like, oh, and it brings me so much joy. It'll be the smallest thing. Like, for some reason, I've been completely addicted to strawberries lately.
Oh, yeah.
2 weeks, and they bring me I was in the damn bathtub.
Yes.
With my bubbles, my Epsom salt, eating fucking strawberries.
Oh my God, I need bubbles. I have some THC and CBD bath salts that I need to use. I just really want bubbles because that's gonna.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Did you get the damn bath bubbles?
Where did I get it? Fuck. It had to have been that little Purple Haze spot that's right next to that Safeway on Broadway, that tiny little house. They have a huge selection of bath products, like bath bombs, salts, and like lotions and stuff. So check that out. Because this bag is, I think the whole bag is 120 mgs of THC. Then there's like 50 mgs of CBD, I think. And so I plan on just using the whole thing, but I'm going to make it a whole mood, you know? So I need to make sure I have bubbles.
Oh. Yeah, no, I've been taking baths like nobody's business for the last 3 or 4 baths a week.
Oh, yeah.
Epsom salt, bubble, candles, music. Girl, ain't nobody fucking talking to me when I'm in that bath. Somebody knocks, I'm like, occupied. It is the best thing. And when you're high, too.
Yes. Oh,
in the bubble bath?
Yes.
with music.
Oh yeah.
Get here. To fucking live in the bathtub. That's how fucking good it is. I would literally recommend that to fucking anybody and everybody. Everybody, take baths with a little bit of an edible. Take that fucking bath. It will change your life. I mean, literally change your life.
So you heard it here, folks.
Seriously, do it. Do it. I dare you.
Okay, well, thank you guys for listening. Thank you so much for listening to Black Me Up Podcast. Be sure to follow us everywhere on Black Me Up at Black Me Up Podcast. Email us at blackmeuppodcast@gmail.com, and also check our podcast description box for any links so that you could follow us. And that's all that I could think of because we haven't done this in a minute.
Right.
So, thank you guys. And bye.
Bye.
Dubla.